I just go finish that degree just to have it. I don't know. I don't know.
It's a good degree. I mean, you can use it in different areas. You can
Yeah.
also have your own practice with it.
Yeah.
So it's something that I'm actually trying to explore, like to really study it. But yeah, a story for another day. So now let's talk about au pairing. What is au pairing? You explained the agency placements, but I would also like to understand, like also for my audience who don't understand what au pairing is, what
Yeah.
is it?
Au pairing is when it's a cultural exchange experience where you live with a family and you provide childcare to them and all the I'm gonna use the United States as an example. All the duties that you do are related to the kids. Like for example, you'll take the kids to school, look after the kids, and you work for 45 hours. If you're cooking, you're going to be cooking for the kids. Like everything that you do is related to the kids laundry. So basically, all childcare experience is basically like a live-in nanny, but then this is a cultural exchange experience. So yeah.
And what are the benefits? I mean, when you talk about cultural exchange
Um,
experience, I see it like with more benefits,
the
you know?
benefit I'm trying to think like the benefits of the fact that, for example, you're living in somebody's house and
Mhm.
you don't pay for rent, you don't pay for food, you don't pay for the house Wi-Fi. But then obviously it is a catch-22 because you're living where you work. So sometimes it is quite difficult to break that boundary of like, okay, like work-life balance. In some cases it does get a bit twisted where like, no, but it's not my time to work. You can't expect me to be working. um, Another benefit is sure you get to live in a country, in a different country, and you're not paying to live in this country as I stated, because you're living with the family and you're able to explore different places. And obviously, like for example, the money that you get as an au pair, it's not a lot of money. It is seen as it's not seen as the salary, it's more seen as a weekly allowance in the United States, for example, like you get a weekly allowance. So but also, for example, it is apples to oranges because the money that, for example, a nanny in that country could be getting and one that an au pair could be getting are completely different. But sometimes I'm just like, okay, since you're living with the family and you're not paying for the Wi-Fi and you're having this cultural exchange, most of the
Mhm.
money that could have been paid is being spent on all these other things that you're using in the household. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're also young. I mean, after matric, that's like very young. And I think you
Yeah.
also mentioned that the age is between 18 to
18,
25 or 26.
26, 18 to 26. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at that stage, most people don't have even like responsibilities. Okay, yes, you
No,
could have black tax, but most people don't have kids.
yeah.
It's just like your own money. And if you look at it from experimental perspective, living abroad, learning, like as you're saying, it's a cultural
It's a
exchange
cultural exchange
program, then
experience.
there
Yeah.
are quite a lot of
Yeah.
benefits. I'm quite interested also to know in terms of the allowance. How much are we talking about?
I remember in the United States, the minimum allowance is $199. Some families are
Mhm,
very generous and they will give you more than that. But then also it does
mhm,
kind of suck because at the end of the year you have to pay tax for the 199 that you get. And obviously when you're in South Africa, it does sound like a lot of money. Like 199, I don't know what the rand is to the dollar, but
mhm,
I'm gonna use 20 as an example. I think because 20 is I could be wrong. This is all alleged numbers. It's all made up numbers. But if I use 20 for 200, it's gonna be 4,000 rand. And it sounds like a lot when you're in South Africa, but unfortunately, life is expensive on the other side. So it's like you don't see where the money is going because it's like, oh my word, I need to buy this, I need to buy toiletries, I'm going out with friends, I still want
yeah.
to save up for whatever you're saving up for, I still want to go on a trip. So you don't even see where the money is going because it sounds like a lot, but it is a little. And obviously everybody's responsibilities and priorities are different and everybody does have different financial goals going into their year. So it does for everybody on how money is spent and how money is saved.
Yeah, so basically we're looking at close to 9,000 rand a month if we're looking at $99 a week. It's
One
around that.
199.
Whoa,
199.
it's over 10 grand a month,
Like
10,000 right?
18 in rands, but then obviously, like as I stated, it is very less. And also, for example, for the amount of hours and how strenuous and
Mm,
tedious, like especially working with kids, because I feel like sometimes people do tend to think that, oh, you work with kids, it must be easy. It does get very, it does take, it's a great job. If you love working with kids, then I genuinely feel like this is such an amazing experience to do, because for example, in my, like for me, I have been an older sister figure to these little kids, and also it's been so much fun in the sense that you're able to relate to these kids because you're not too old, but you're also not too young. You like, you still understand what's hippie and cool for these kids, and you know, like you understand what's going on, but then it does get mentally strenuous. You do get, because that's, I'm like, these are the things that people don't talk about in working with childcare. Like you get tired, you get tired. Great experience if you love working with kids. If you don't love working with kids, then I do not recommend that you do it, because you're gonna have a horrible time.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, when you talk about 45 hours, I look at my hours currently.
Yeah.
I work 40 hours a week. How is that distributed as 45 hours? Are we working Monday to Saturday, or how does
Um,
it work?
the max hours that a family can the max hours that a family can make one work is 45 hours. Some families will make their au pair work, for example, from 8 in the morning until 5, Monday to Friday. And then I remember in my situation, I would only be working in the morning for an hour. So it's basically an hour, like school, like breakfast, school drop off, and then
Preparations.
preparation, and then in the afternoon start working again at 2 o'clock. Now it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it's 6. So I was only working 6 hours in the day, Monday to Friday. And then on some days, on some weekends, if they needed me, then I'd also be working on the weekends. Because remember that I have not completed my hours. Some
Mhm.
weeks, like, okay, we don't need you on the weekend. That's absolutely fine. So you basically keep those, it's your time, but then everything. And also with this, like, families can't carry over the hours. They can't say, oh, since last week you didn't work 10 hours, we're going to add it into this. No, it's basically a fresh start, brand new start, clean state.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what, like,
Mhm.
the big difference from
Yeah.
family to family, and how the scheduling of the family is, which is also very important when one interviews with family, asking them about their scheduling, and also you having conversations with yourself if you are going to be okay with the type of schedule that the family has, how you feel about it. There's many questions that you really need to deep dive and ask yourself when you're talking to families.
Yeah, and I'm quite also interested to know, like, the difference between an au pair and a nanny, because when you're explaining that these are the responsibilities, and
Yeah.
looking at myself as a mom and the responsibilities that you would carry, like in my household, I don't think I would hire a nanny, because you are there to like you are doing quite a lot. So have you ever worked like for a home with a nanny and then you were au pairing, or is it always like you as just one person and you expected to do all the house chores? How, how,
Um,
how does it?
you, as an au pair, you don't do the house chores. That is not your job. That's something, like, it really does differ from country to country. But I remember in the very first family, host family that I au paired for, they also had a nanny. The nanny was literally just doing the same things that I do. It's not like a nanny in South Africa where they're doing the house, doing the cooking, the cleaning, da, da, da. It's only childcare related. And then there was
Mhm.
also cleaners that would come and clean the house. So the nanny and I would work together. So she, maybe if the schedules are conflicting, she'd pick up one kid that's on the other side of town, then I would do another, and then I would wait for the kids to come home, then I would be helping the kids. Like it's basically literally the same things, but then nannies are also just childcare related. The only difference about nanny and au pair is that it's not a cultural exchange experience for them, because they're doing it in their home country. But then for an au pair, you're doing it in a different country, and it's a cultural exchange experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So with you being there, looking at the age as well,
Yeah.
Isn't there some sort of exploitation? Because that's like a very tender age when you're 18, between 18 and 26. Isn't there some sort of exploitation? And I'm also exploring this question looking at some cases where people say they experience some mental health,
Yeah.
and some also, like a recent topic also where an au pair from South Africa passed away or died in USA. Yeah.
Um, Unfortunately, there is exploitation that does happen. It goes back to example for the pay that I was telling you about that nannies in the United States earn, because, for example, a nanny earns way more than that per hour, but we are not charged, like au pairs aren't getting paid per hour. So that is exploitation. And also, for example, like some families have ridiculous schedules and then they might make their au pairs work overtime or might ask